I wonder why the sky is blue.
I wonder why birds migrate south for the winter.
I wonder why cardinals are red.
I wonder how trees have leaves on them.
If Socrates is right and wisdom begins with wonder, then kids are born to be great thinkers. In our eyes, everything is new and exciting. Wondering helps us make sense of the strange world that surrounds us. That's not only true of kids, though. What if you were told that tomorrow you'd be flying a rocket to the moon? What is the first thing you would do? You'd ask a few questions, right? Kids are the same way. If we're engaged, if we're interested, if we're thinking, we're asking questions. Dr. Julia Roberts from the Center for Gifted Studies at Western Kentucky University has an interesting thought on this idea.
A child who is thinking about an activity as well as engaging in the activity will probably be asking questions. There will be some follow-up. They won't just be doing it.
Little learners begin to wonder long before they have the language to ask questions aloud. Look at this little guy. I'm not sure what he's thinking, but I can tell he is curious. At first glance, you might think, oh, he's just playing. But that's the thing. We learn best through play. He's engaged, he's focused, he's curious. That lets you know he's thinking. And if he's thinking, he's wondering. He just might not know the words to ask the questions yet. Nancy Houston is a literacy consultant from the Green River Regional Educational Cooperative. She has a tip for parents about how to help little learners ask good questions.
You need to give them the language to ask the questions. So instead of saying, do you have a question? You might say, what are you wondering about this? I'm wondering this. What are you wondering? Give them the beginning of a question so that it's not a chore to come up with the question. So give them a stem, if you will, like, what are you wondering? And give them lots of opportunities to wonder. If you want children to think about this, give them others, what does this remind you of? Then students are going to be making connections. You can say maybe, and then children are going to be making inferences. So give them the word they need to think at a higher level.
Once we have the language we need to ask good questions, we're on fire. We have a tool for learning in our pocket that we can use anywhere, anytime. We'll be able to explore not only with you, but with our friends. Here, watch as this little girl learns to play with a toy she's never seen before.
It feels real. Biggest one ever.
Just like with the little boy, at first it might look like this girl is playing in the science center. Her play turned into an investigation. See how she continues to explore even after her question was answered? Good questions usually lead to more questions. That's what happens when we're really learning. Play, question, explore. Play, question, explore. It's like a pattern. As a matter of fact, did you know that the typical preschooler asks 300 or more questions a day? Whew. That must be exhausting for you. Really though, listening to our questions isn't the hard part. The hard part is knowing what to do with all of our questions. This might sound strange, but sometimes when we ask you questions, we need more than the answer. See, when we ask a question, we're telling you we're interested in something. We're curious, we're engaged. When we ask you a question, you hold a fragile opportunity in your hands. The easiest thing for you to do would be to give us the answer. You're the adult, you know everything in our eyes. But as strange as it sounds, giving us the answer isn't always the best thing to do. Beth Schaefer is a veteran preschool teacher, and she'll explain a little more about this.
And we're so quick to jump and answer that for them. A person once told me, and when we talk to children, it's not about knowing more than they do. It's a matter of giving them the opportunity to explore, to know more than we do. So asking the children, talking to them, and helping them break it down without doing it for them. Or better yet, we don't want them to do it our way. And so often we get into the, well, if it was me, and you might try this. We have a world of experience to base that on. They have a world of wonder and curiosity to bring to the table, and they may do it very differently, and it may end up a better product than what we would have assumed.
Whether you're my teacher or my family, When you give me the answer, you teach something other than just the answer you give me. You teach me that I'll always find my answers by asking someone. Sometimes that's okay, but sometimes it's not okay. Unless you can guarantee me that you will live forever and always be here to guide me, I need to learn to think through things and find answers on my own. If I'm going to be an innovator, I have to be an independent thinker. The next time your little learner comes to you with a question, think about this. Rather than just answering, ask questions to make us think about it a little more. Give us time to explore ideas. Let us discover. Watch what happens as this little girl and her mom investigate together.
I don't know. What do you think it is? What can you do with it? Okay, now what will happen when you put the water in? Oh, I'm glad you like it. What are you going to use the fish for? Are you giving him a bath?
That little girl is right. With curiosity as her guide, learning is fun. One of my favorite ways to learn is when you explore with me. Even if you think you know the answer, work with me until we solve it together. Who knows? The answer we come up with may be better. By the time a child is 9 years old, they're only asking around 100 questions a day. As we get older, sometimes we begin to think that questions are for people who don't have answers. In other words, questions are for people who aren't smart. If kids aren't asking questions, we aren't engaged, we aren't thinking, we aren't learning. How can you keep this from happening to your little learner? Dr. Roberts has an important thought on this.
Well, wonder is something that should follow us all of our life as we engage with our environment, whether it's the outside environment or environment within our homes or our classrooms. Wonder is what involves asking good questions. And please know it is so much better for a child to ask a good question than to give the right answer, because we can find the right answers, but we've got to think in order to ask good questions.
Whether kids admit it or not, we look up to you. We watch you all of the time. Let us see you excited about learning. Let us hear you wondering. Someday your words and actions will become my inner voice. If you brag on me for getting the answer right, then getting the right answer is what I begin to think is most important. But if you brag on me for wondering, if you model being curious, then I'll believe curiosity is what's most important. I need you to show me that learning lasts a lifetime. Remember, with each question your little learner asks, you have been given a fragile opportunity to teach us a lifelong skill. Curiosity sparks a fire in our mind. You can either kindle the flame or blow it out.
Okay, does it look exactly like a frog face?